pathway. The purpose of this project is to cultivate an understanding of how emotions impact relationships. His speech is titled, "What the Func?" and he will be sharing the impact of having a better awareness of his emotions and the emotions of others. Please welcome Richard Lee Tye with What the Func? What the Func? Richard Lee Tye.
I'm the type of person that rarely swears out loud, but often I'll think to myself, what the funk? Life throws me a curveball and suddenly all these difficult emotions arise. And I think, what the funk? Or my morning alarm rings and I'm just laying in bed feeling lethargic and unmotivated. What the funk? What the funk actually stands for what's the function? In other words, what are my emotions trying to tell me? I got this helpful phrase from Dr. Susan David, a psychologist who focuses on emotional agility. Over the past few weeks, I've been keeping a journal of my different emotional responses to situations and people in my life. While there are many stories and reflections, there's one key story I'd like to share with you today. I was having a conversation with a friend, and he asked me, Richard, when's the last time you celebrated yourself? Wow, I had to take a long pause and rummage through the archives of my mind, trying to recall any instances where I celebrated myself. And they were few and far between. I responded, I don't really know. It dawned on me that I rarely, if ever, celebrate myself. After this instance, I journaled about it to try to figure out what was going on. As I journaled, it was like opening Pandora's box. I started to see all these patterns that I didn't notice before. For example, over the past few months, I've gotten lots of comments from friends about how excited and proud they are of the work that I'm doing. They would exude all this positive energy, but I didn't feel it internally. My pervading feeling was apathy. That is, the lack of feeling or emotion. What the funk? Why was it that I couldn't feel the same level of excitement that others were expressing to me? When I listened to what this apathy was telling me, I learned that it stemmed back to the lack of celebrating myself. If I don't even celebrate myself, how can I receive the positive sentiments of others trying to celebrate me? It's like I put up all this heavy armor and their comments just bounce off. One of my favorite authors, Brené Brown, talks about a vulnerability armory. These are the coping mechanisms that we use to protect ourselves from shame. And the piece of armor that I put on was numbing. I would numb myself by being busy. Because by being busy, I thought I would get feelings of accomplishment. But in reality, everything just felt like a monotone static. I would finish one task and my mind would immediately focus to what's next on my to-do list. I was constantly doing one thing after the next. I'm definitely able to create results, and from an outsider's perspective, they might see me as someone that's very successful. But I'm so focused on my present to-dos and the looming deadlines in the future that I never look back in the past to see the progress that I've made to get to where I am today. What does this result in? Apathy. What the funk? Hunger is a signal for us to seek food. Thirst is a signal for us to seek water. Apathy was a signal for me to seek joy. I realized that I had been living my life mainly on autopilot, but now I wanted to put my hands back on the wheel. I realized I wanted to make a shift. The thing with emotions is that by identifying them, it gives me power. It's like a doctor's diagnosis. If I'm able to accurately describe my symptoms, then the doctor will be able to prescribe me a treatment plan for my particular ailment. In this case, I was able to name my apathy and think about what's its function. I could see where it was coming from and how it was affecting not only my relationship to myself, but to others in terms of not being able to receive their words of kindness. I realized I now want to incorporate more joy into my life. I'm doing this by asking myself questions like, what's a small win I can celebrate myself for today? What's something I gained today that I didn't have yesterday? What am I grateful for? While I don't ask these questions each and every day, I have started to notice slight shifts and feeling more of a sense of joy in my day-to-day life. I'm giving myself metaphorical pats on the back and sometimes literally. I know it's going to be a gradual process to reprogram my busy and apathetic mind, but I'm glad I have this awareness now and I can make changes. All of this started by asking myself, what the funk? I'd invite you to think about what is a common emotion that's often coming up in your life nowadays. You can ask yourself, what the funk? What's its function? What is it trying to tell you? By utilizing this catchy phrase and this process, you might just discover important things about yourself that you didn't realize before, just like I did. Madame Toastmaster.